ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, Vin Diesel finds his Rock replacement for F10. We'll get to that in the news. Trailer talk this week, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre trailer, as well as our first full trailer for the Halo TV show. The new to streaming list this week is pretty packed for our first week of the month. The what we're watching, of course, and then our main review for the episode. 9 days. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by not dead, not quite alive, Nathaniel Gingrich.
I mean, that's relevant to the movie, but I'm pretty sure it's just relevant to COVID life right now, you know?
yeah. Double entendre on that one, I think.
Sorry to be dark there, folks, but I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Could be better. Busy week, long week already, and it's only Tuesday. But hey.
Yeah,
we're living, we're breathing.
Fair enough. Oh, you know what I did today?
We're alive.
I cut my foot on glass, which is not something I've done in a long time, and it's pretty dumb too. Because I was cleaning, doing some dishes, and I dropped a wine glass, shattered everywhere, and I thought I had it all picked up, and then the tiniest shard, of course, was on the floor.
Yeah.
And I just grabbed it, and I was like, As soon as I stepped on it, I knew what it was too. And, of course, it's on the bottom of your foot, so it just bleeds all the time, too. And you just can't stop it. So that was fun.
The real question is that worse than stepping on a Lego?
No. I'd take this over the Lego. Like, if it was a bigger shard, absolutely. But this was just tiny. But it's just your foot, so you just bleed everywhere. But, yeah, no, I'd take this.
It was enough to cut you.
Take a Lego take this over a Lego. But
yeah, when's the last time you've all stepped on a Lego, if you could pinpoint it?
It's been a minute.
I was going to say, I don't have children.
Yeah, I've been around a lot of Legos, and now that I'm an adult, I can keep track of them. So, also joining us today, it's Tube TV Tyler Verdalis.
Hey, fun fact, my initials are also TV.
Wow.
Simulation.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Yes, confirmed off of that alone. Tube TV is, we've come a long way. I think about that all the time.
We really have.
In a very short amount of time. In like
crazy,
the grand scheme of things.
It's wild.
In the grand scheme of things, yeah, definitely. Because like you look back, TVs were invented less than 100 years ago. Back in like the 20s, 30s.
I'm just talking like the last 20 years, man.
Oh yeah, even then, yeah. Very, very fast. I'm glad we've gotten to the OLED because I don't know if it gets much better than this.
I'm sure we'll find a way.
Hashtag ad. Hashtag.
Well, I think me and Nathaniel talked about this at the store when I was home for break, but I think OLED is about as good as like TV panel technology will get. I think eventually what we're going to start seeing is like more VR and AR stuff, and we're going to see that technology improve, and then eventually take over TVs.
Sure.
Where you won't even need one because it'll be in your brain or something like that.
God, I hope not.
Yeah. What a time to be alive, you know? What a time to be alive.
True.
And rounding out the squadron this week, it's the big question, BlakeHolder.
Hey, what up?
I think the question is a DC superhero at some point too. So, Blake, you've been moonlighting and doing any crime fighting lately?
I have not. No.
What is winter? It's tough to be out there patrolling the streets these days.
Yeah, as COVID doesn't have too many people out and about,
True.
So that probably cuts down on crime.
True.
But I don't know. I guess that leads me to a bigger question. Like, what do you think Batman would be doing during COVID? With like crime obviously going down, do we think he just continues to be Bruce Wayne, or
I hope he's
do you think he just like
chasing
beats up people who like illegally sports bet?
No, I think he's just chasing down bats, trying to find
Okay.
who started this all.
I think he goes around and puts masks on anti-masker's face.
Just a bat mask.
Maybe he gets like Batman masks and he's trying to help out his branding.
There you go.
You never know.
The Wayne Tech masks.
Bitcoin tech. That's actually probably what he's doing is investing a
Just
lot of money.
making a fucking mint.
A lot of insider trading.
Yeah, regular billionaire shit. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's funny.
All right, boys. Well, let's get in the show here, guys. Our first and only news story of the week: Jason Momoa in talks to join Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious 10.
Makes too much sense, doesn't it?
It does,
Didn't
and
we talk this into existence?
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure we did say Jason Momoa is like the next most likely person to join
Unreal.
the Fast and the Furious.
That's
so we
funny.
did predict it. You know, where are your most reliable sources of? I don't even know what that would be considered.
Back
Feature
row
telling?
exclusives.
Yeah. We should just start guessing, and then like publishing articles. That way we could say like, we called it.
Just
but
get
anyway.
really into clickbait.
Yeah. That's basically what most news articles are nowadays. Just hey, this is what we think's going on, and we'll tell you if it actually is later. But you're gonna act like it's fact now. Anyway, we talked about a few weeks ago how The Rock essentially, well, he did just straight up decline Vin Diesel's plea for him to return for Fast 10.
Was it a
and
plea?
so-
was it emotional blackmail?
Potato. It's you can go either way. Depends on whose side you're looking at, I guess. So with that being officially ended, I guess Jason Momoa was next up to kind of fill the star spot that maybe The Rock left behind, or do you guys
hope
think
he
this
says
is
no.
more?
Oh no,
Who
they'll back the bridge.
I don't want any
bridge
more
truck up to
of these
him, bro.
movies, dude.
Yeah.
You're
Do you guys
out,
think
Blake?
this was going to happen regardless of The Rock situation?
I think they might have had this as a backup storyline or something like that for a little while. We're
Yeah,
all
maybe.
assuming he's going to be like playing The Rock's brother or something like that at this point.
I was gonna
right?
say, I'm just wondering who he's gonna be related to.
Right?
That's my only. That's my only
I mean,
question.
he could be a villain.
He could.
He doesn't have to be a member of the
I
family.
mean, if you're a villain, there's a 50-50 chance you'll be a hero at the end of it anyway. So
yeah.
It's either him or Charisse Theron just throwing out one-liners.
it would be
So-
it would be kind of funny if at the end of this though it's just a crew of 15 people trying to beat up one Charlize Theron, and it's just like you needed the entire squad to take down a woman in a secure location. I don't know. I like the idea of just building because they've built an anti-squad before. Man, I don't know. Maybe I hope Jason Momoa is a villain. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it'd be a new role for him. He always plays a protagonist, so seeing him in a villain role could be cool. But also, if they told me he was Shaw's or not, he's not Shaw. He's Hobbs. If he was Hobbs' brother, I could believe it.
Well,
I think
yeah.
Jason Momoa could pass as a
Hobbs,
good
The
Rock
Rock?
sibling. Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if this is
Yeah, I
Hobbs,
mean, I
too,
guess. Yeah,
I feel
just
like
from
he could
the
fill that.
racial ambiguity, he might have
Sure.
a chance.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's Hawaiian. And
he's Hawaiian.
Yeah, he is, but you can pass that. You know, with him in the Rock.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they're both
very
islanders
racially
or whatever
ambiguous.
you want
Yeah.
to call it.
Pacific
yeah.
Islanders.
Pacific Islanders. Yeah.
I think is the Rock not half black?
Oh,
I
well,
don't-
he may
I
be,
don't think
but I know one half
so.
Samoan
Could
at
be, but I
least,
don't-
Yeah,
or Tongan.
I think
one of
he
those.
is.
Yeah, I have no idea. Does
Google.
this change anything for your guys' excitement for Fast 10?
No.
No.
All on board now.
I'm happy to see him in there. I guess like it's again it's of course. So is my excitement level raised? Not overall. Am I
Yeah.
happy he's a part of the franchise? Sure, why not?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Maybe he'll bring a
All right.
little juice.
It needs something.
He is half
So
black, half
nice.
Samoan.
Oh,
Mm.
nice.
Gotcha.
Well, we'll have to see how Fast 10 turns out. I don't know if there's much they can do to like really revamp this franchise to the point where like F7 was at. I think most people have checked out, but
Uh,
Jason Momoa,
They bring in
I'm in.
Sonic.
Sonic crossover.
He likes to go fast.
Sonic's the villain.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. All right. Well, hit us up for all of your, new IP ideas. It's actually just crossovers. We're gonna get to that point eventually. I think that'd be a good spot to like I think the next evolution of these reboots and sequels and everything is just, you know what, straight up any IP that we have, crossover. You're gonna just that could be that. I honestly could see that happening, being the logical like next era of Hollywood is just crossover after crossover, and I would hate it. I think that would turn out horribly.
Yeah, let's not do that.
That's a prediction I don't want to come true, but if it does, you know, you heard it here first. Anyway, let's move on to trailer talk here, guys. Our first trailer is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Is this coming straight? Yeah, this is Netflix's.
Yeah, originally it was gonna be a theater drop, I'm pretty sure, but I think they like sold it off. The Twitter banter chatter has not been good in the lead up.
I'm not
haven't
feeling
seen
it
much.
really.
Yeah, it's not like in like it doesn't look good, and like this had a screenwriter and director on it that I guess on like first day of shooting got a huge script rewrite, and we're like, nah, and just bailed. And then they shot a movie, had to reshoot a bunch of it, sold it off to Netflix. It was originally going to have a theater release and then didn't. So
Right. So it's got all the makings of being trash, for lack of a better word.
that's what the chatter's saying anyways. You know, anything could be
Right.
good. Who knows?
True. Very true.
Could
I'll
be
give it a chance.
could be a fun one at the end. Could be a thing, but it just
And it's coming to Netflix. No investment really needed.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
And
Popcorn flick,
besides,
turn it on late night.
besides your increased Netflix subscription price.
I don't know what they're trying with Texas Chainsaw here though. Isn't this like the fourth reboot at this point? Like
So let's think. So you have the two originals, right?
Right.
When's the first one? 70 something?
yeah, somewhere in there. I can't even
76,
remember.
I think.
Right.
It
You have
says
the
right
two
here,
originals,
74.
and then I'm sorry, go ahead, Adam.
74.
Okay. And then I don't think there's a third, and then you get to the reboots in the early 2000s.
No, there's yeah. There's one before the one with Jessica Biel though, in like the mid '90s with like a young Matthew McConaughey or something.
Really? Okay, I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And then there's the reboot with Jessica Biel.
All
Right,
right.
there's two of those though.
I-
So there's
I
the
ha-
reboot, and then there's a sequel.
Yeah,
Go
there's-
ahead, Adam.
I found the official list.
All right,
We start off in 1974 with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
classic, Stone
Right.
Cold, one of
Super
the best.
classic. Yeah.
Then 86, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Okay,
Okay.
And then this is 1990 is Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
okay.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
And then you have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Next Generation in 95.
That's the one with McConaughey.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Then 2000 is All American Massacre.
Never heard
Oh,
of
I've
that
never
one.
seen that.
Never
That's got to
even-
be like a straight to DVD
yeah, that's
release
gotta
or
be
something.
absolute trash.
Okay. And then 03, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Looks
That's
like
right.
it's a reboot.
That's one with Jessica Biel.
Yep.
And then there's the sequel to that,
Next
right,
Generation.
beginning.
06 is the beginning. Yeah, Texas Chainsaw
Right.
Massacre, the beginning.
which I've seen
And-
that. Okay, it's okay.
2013, Texas Chainsaw.
Crap.
Yeah, that's the one with Trey Songs and in 3D. That's horrible.
And then 2017 is Leatherface. That's the last
I've
one.
seen that. And the Leatherface is okay from 2017. It's not bad. I'm a horror guy,
For the record, I would also like to, not consider this a reboot. I like to look at this more of a resurrection.
Oh god.
Mm.
They're just ripping the Halloween 2018 playbook just right out in front of our faces at this point, aren't they?
Or,
Like
what did they say in Scream 5, fellas?
The-
Or I guess Scream 20.
the
22?
requel.
The requel? Yeah, there we go. That's what we're
That's a good
rocking
term.
with.
And-
It is.
man,
Shout out Scream 5.
I just
I
don't know.
So yeah, I mean, I'm interested. Obviously, I'm a horror guy though, so I'll definitely turn it on for like a late night Netflix type of jig. There are a lot of these films, but then I don't know. To Nathaniel's point, then I look at like the fucking Halloween series.
Right.
So and look how many Halloween movies there are. There's got to be
No, you're right. You're right there. I
15,
just
16 of those.
it's
So-
like but it's like, and this is my just is you guys tell me, is this just like a douchey way of looking at it or a wanky way of looking at it? But like to me, you watch the original Texas Chainsaw and like Leatherface is a part of it, but he's not the main kind of like focus in some areas too. You know, it's not just him, and like every sequel after that's been just always about like this, to the point like I just don't know. I don't know that this is the franchise that you can pull this off with, I guess, is my feelings in some ways, without it being this kind of parody of itself in some ways. I would just love a good Texas Chainsaw, I guess, at this point. I'm hoping, and I just don't feel like this is it. But who knows? Anything could be good.
Yeah, I'm with you a little bit. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know how big of a fan base this has anymore.
Right. Well, that's the other thing, I guess, too, isn't it?
So it's not. I don't think it's as big as like a Halloween or a Scream or something of that nature. You know, at least not in today's age anymore. So
I would say more people have like seen and think the Jessica Biel one is like the more famous one at this point than the original.
Yeah, honestly, that's not bad though.
No,
I would
it's
recommend
fine.
Adam to watch that.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm sure Adam hasn't seen it, and
I haven't
think
seen
that
any
would
of
be.
these. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Yeah, man, I would try the 03 one.
No, watch the
Or
original
04,
first, and
whatever it
then
is.
watch the
original
03.
For sure. Pardon me, Nathaniel's right.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. Come a short period of time. This comes out in 2 weeks or so, February 18th.
You've got very little time to get on your homework here, Adam.
Yeah. Don't say homework. I got like a little bit of PTSD when you said homework.
Sorry, sir.
Can't use that term when it comes to movies. It's,
That's a strong word, man.
it's a sensitive
PTSD,
subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do some research. How's
I've been
that?
there before.
There you go. Okay. Well, I'm in a research class right now, so you're not on a good roll, but you know, it's all right. You didn't know. I forgive you. Anyway, anything stand out from the trailer that you guys are looking forward to? Anything?
I always like to see the different ways that they kind of make up his leather face. So I'll be interested to see, what he puts on, or who he puts on.
The little bit at the beginning with the where he just pops up in the field.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like the bus scene at the end seems to be seems like they're going full on
cool
like Splatterfest.
I think they basically just took the Darth Vader scene from the newer ones where he's in the hallway
from
and just he
Rogue
lifts
One.
that guy up right away. And
It's a shot-for-shot recreation.
Yeah.
Just with Leatherface. All right, well, like I said, we'll have to see come 2 weeks or so how that turns out. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer for our next trailer, which is going to come out in March, late March. But we finally have a Halo TV show trailer. Almost 8 years in the making, since it was originally announced back in like 2013, 2014. Has been through like 3 different production companies, and
Right.
God knows how many directors and showrunners and all that. But it's here. It's finished-ish, and will be out soon, straight to Paramount Plus. It'll be first time I buy a subscription for that.
Ooh.
I'm definitely buying one for this show, but
They brought
who
you
knows?
in.
Anyway,
How much is that running you, Adam? Paramount
$5
Plus?
or something
Oh,
like
I
that?
haven't bought one yet. I don't know. I think it's like $5 a month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's the same as like Peacock, which is like $5.
Yeah, Paramount Plus.
Great starting price for any companies listening to this. Please keep the
Netflix.
$5. If you have to go to 7, whatever, we're fine. Once you get over 15, though, it's like fuck that.
So you can get Paramount Plus and Showtime. It looks like for $12 a month. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal, actually.
We'll
No,
see.
for both of them, you're talking about $6.50.
This might
And
be
then
one.
$5 a month is what it looks like it is for the ad-based one.
This might be one I save up the episodes and do a binge. Like
For Halo?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was also thinking.
I think I'll
Faster.
go week to week on this.
I would love to binge it, but I think I'll just be too excited. I might have to go week to week.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably end up just doing a binge at the end. But yeah, Halo, as we mentioned before on this podcast, very important to me. One of my favorite franchises for sure. So this has been cool to see. I am, as a pretty big Halo fan, pleased with the trailer overall. I mean, there's nothing... It didn't get my hopes up too much more because I was already pretty excited for this. But I'm a little nervous still. It didn't like seal the deal on this is actually going to be good. I still think it could be pretty bad. There's still a high chance that it is. So I'm still a little apprehensive, but and it's cool to see everything. All the production design the production quality seems pretty good. CGI didn't seem too bad actually. I mean, it's obviously you can still tell it's like a TV budget for CGI, but even with the TV budget, it's good. It's like acceptable. It's not subpar. I would say it's right where it needs to be. The other thing is the two big things that that Halo fans have been talking about is Cortana, how she looks, which I personally don't have a problem with, but it's hard to kind of do a live action hologram of a person and like do that well.
People just like bitching.
Of course, and the Halo fans,
Great quote.
especially. Yeah. Put it on a shirt, put on a pillow. But yeah, people like to just complain.
And most nerds are just mad because they took away her boobs.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like, just shut up, bro. They put her in a suit and she looks professional. I don't care that she's not blue. This isn't fucking canon, anyways.
Yeah, that's the thing that was brought up a couple weeks ago. This is not going to be canon, so it doesn't have anything to do with the storyline of the games. They don't have to retcon anything, which at this point I'm all on board for. I think I talked about it when we talked about how this wasn't canon, but I would prefer it, of course, if they could do something that is canon and matters, and it's also a good story. I just think that is kind of hard to do at this point with how many games and books and everything and where that, canon and lore is at. So the fact that they have the freedom to kind of do whatever they want without having to worry about the consequences is nice, and I think it'll lead to a better show in this situation.
Does the helmet come off?
It should not. I don't believe they are going to show Master Chief's face. If they do, I guess it would be not a huge deal because again, it's not canon, but like it's always been a big thing that you don't see Master Chief's face.
This is the way.
I don't.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm feeling definitely Mando vibes here. Obviously, not being as big a Halo guy as you guys are, I'm sure that's part of it. But just kind of even from like set design and overall look, it felt Mando-ish, and like that's kind of feels like maybe what they're going for. I was just looking at the cast list. I really like Pablo Schreiber, who spoiler alert or a bit of sizzle may pop up in what I've been watching this week, but he's really good. So.
Yeah, he's gonna be Master Chief, and his voice is Master Chief instead of Steve Downes, who's voiced Master Chief in the past. A lot of people, that was the other thing that people were upset about, was his voice. I like it actually. I think it would have been awkward to do Steve Downes' voice for Master Chief in this one and have it dubbed over. And I think that the way his lines are, as well as his actual voice, I think matches up pretty well for what you'd kind of expect from a live action version of this. But again, I think there's actually a decent chance that this is like mediocre at best, and also a decent chance that this is like bad.
I'm gonna watch it regardless. I was gonna say, by any chance, are you just like keeping your expectations low and like the hope that it's okay too? Like, do you think it'll be surprised?
I don't want to get burned.
Okay.
I don't want to get my hopes up.
You're being cautious here.
I'm being very cautious just because I have been burned by too many things like this.
No, that's fair. It's merited.
Yeah. Although I will say, the last like live action Halo thing that they've done was like, I guess it was Nightfall. That was poor. That was bad. Before that was Forward Onto Dawn, which they did before leading up to Halo 4. That was like a web series. Low production, but actually very good as far as like story goes. I really like that show.
Good.
So we'll see. I'm fingers crossed for this one, debuting March 24th. Like I said, on Paramount Plus. So if you have,
I'm the opposite.
What do you mean the opposite?
I have like super high hopes for this, and I'm okay if it's dog shit because it's not canon. So I still get to hold the games near and dear to my heart.
That's true. I am just trying to not get like super excited for this. Like it's gonna be the greatest thing ever. And
yeah.
Judging from the trailer, I'm running like 2-1 odds that we don't see an actual Halo until the end of the series, like final episode.
Didn't they show Halo in the trailer?
No.
Oh.
They mentioned a Halo.
They're worried about Halo coming.
Oh.
Yeah, there's also already been talks. That was another news story I saw. There's already been talks about kind of if there is a season 2, they already have a showrunner and stuff in mind. It would be David Weiner, who did Fear the Walking Dead and Brave New World. would be the potential new showrunner that they've kind of like talked about if it does get approved for a second season.
I wouldn't be surprised if Paramount Plus is betting on this one a little bit, but
let's hope. I mean, Halo still has some buzz around it with the new Halo Infinite launch.
I think so.
It's died down a little bit, but it's still it was refreshed very recently for people, and I think it's going to be something that they're interested in. We'll see how the numbers do. I don't know. If you're not a Halo, like a diehard Halo fan, like someone like myself or Tyler, like if you're not one of those people, do you care enough to go and get a Paramount Plus subscription? I don't know. Maybe, Nathaniel, you're kind of in between there. You just started playing Halo. Are you planning on getting a Paramount Plus subscription?
This is definitely the thing I've heard from them that has brought me the closest. Okay. Even if you want like a comparison, I haven't heard really anything on Peacock yet that has made me like want to go for that. So
sure,
like of the two now, I'm more leaning towards Paramount Plus than Peacock for this. So
yeah, it's a good call. Yeah. Oh, the other thing is I'm looking at this picture, suit design. Chef's kiss. Love how the Mjolnir armor looks. I think all of the characters, because he's with Silver Team, which I think is somewhere in the original lore, even though this isn't canon. I'm not familiar with them. I'm more familiar with Blue Team, which is like his original squad. But anyway, all the armor looks awesome, and I'm really happy about that because it could have looked very bad.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for the news and trailer talk. We can get into Adam Schwartz's completely subjective new to streaming list for the week.
It's only what he wants, folks.
January 30th through February 5th. It is completely subjective, meaning I look over all the lists for all of the streaming services, what's coming to them every week, and I choose the things that I personally, as Adam Schwartz, feel are worth mentioning and potentially worth checking out. To Netflix, we're getting Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Both those coming to Netflix. Caddyshack and Caddyshack 2, Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2, The Book of Eli, The Bourne Ultimatum, The Exorcist, The Hangover, The Last Samurai, The Other Guys, and Watchmen to round out Netflix. Amazon Prime is getting 500 Days of Summer, Battle Los Angeles, Borat 2020, so like the sequel, I think, is what that means. I guess it's coming back to Amazon. I don't know why it would have left because I thought that was original, but it's back. Die Hard with a Vengeance, and Live Free or Die Hard. Forrest Gump, Gone in 60 Seconds. Hellboy from 2019. How to Train Your Dragon. Key and Peele seasons 1 and 2. That's a great show. And
fantastic show.
It holds up pretty well. It hasn't aged too poorly. I'm sure there are some skits that might, get close to the line, but for the most part, those skits.
That's okay. I'm totally okay when comedy goes over the line, or kind of on that threshold.
And you got to keep the context for when. Yeah, you got to keep the context for when things were made. Some things are gonna be way too old, and things have progressed way too much. But something like that, it's like, okay, this is a different time. Like The Office, couldn't be made today, but
sure.
Still pretty good. Where was I here on this list? Lincoln, Little Miss Sunshine, Requiem for a Dream, RoboCop, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Rock from '96. Check out a review of that as well. The Wrestler, Wayne's World, Workaholics seasons 1 through 7. That's a show I feel like I'd really enjoy and should probably check out.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen it.
Oh man.
But I love it.
What is that? Is it like a comedy thing?
Dude, if you guys have you seen it, Nathaniel?
Bits and episodes every now and then.
Okay, if you guys want to take anything away from what you should watch this week, if you got just 20 minutes or like an hour and pound out a couple episodes, please for the love of God start at season 1, episode 1, and just kind of just let it speak for itself, because it is fucking hilarious, and each and every one of you would fucking love it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I might take you up on that.
Yeah, it could be worth a play. And then the last thing coming to Amazon Prime is The Peanut Butter Falcon, Shia LaBeouf's movie from 2019, which is actually pretty good. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it.
I wanted to see it, so I'll definitely probably take a look into that.
I think that's definitely one you could watch with Leah. I think she'd enjoy it too.
Yeah, I like Shia LaBeouf, as we've kind of gone over a couple different times, though. So he's very obviously a method actor and somebody that I actually like, even though he's been in the bad side of things every now and then.
Yeah, I'm pro Shia. I'm team Shia. Coming to Hulu, I almost said like Hulu or something.
Hulu, hulu, hulu.
Hula.
Hello.
Coming to Hulu is Airplane, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Black Swan from 2010, Borat the original. So I guess you got the sequel coming to Amazon Prime. Hulu's getting the original. They're also getting Fight Club, Hitch, Major League, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Water for Elephants, a personal favorite with a capital F of mine, Whiplash, Rick and Morty, the complete 5th season. That's your list for Hulu. HBO Max is getting 12 Years a Slave, 310 to Yuma, Donnie Darko, Kick-Ass 2, Rango, The Butterfly Effect 2, and West Side Story.
I love Rango, by the way. I just have to say that.
Rango's good, man.
I don't know if we've talked about that on pod, but it's definitely a conversation I think we've had before. That like it's actually kind of like a sleeper animated movie.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Have you guys seen
That's
Butterfly
Johnny
Effect?
Depp.
I've not seen Butterfly Effect, and yes, it is Johnny Depp.
I don't think I've seen that, Ty.
I'd probably have to go back and watch it, but from what I remember, I didn't mind the first one. The second one I heard was Dog Water, but the first one I heard was, the first one personally, from what I can remember, I thought it was pretty decent.
Okay.
Good to hear. Oh, and I also would like to clarify really quick: West Side Story is the original, not the new one that just came out.
Fair enough.
Or am I thinking yeah, right? The original just came out, or sorry, the
new one
the
came
Steven
out.
Spielberg one? Okay, I just want to make sure that was West Side Story and I wasn't thinking of something else. Anyway, Disney Plus is getting Book of Boba Fett episode 6, and this one is for Big Cat over there, the real Black Panther. There's a new challenger in the Kabini forest of India, one unlike all leopards that came before him. This is the story of Saya, the real Black Panther, and his rise to power.
Oh, man.
All right. No, yeah, that might get me to open my Disney Plus app, which I don't open that much because obviously I don't watch a lot of Star Wars stuff. I think that's a lot of people go there for. But yeah, I'm all ears to see a story of a
They're
leopard.
cranking out Nat Geo stuff on Disney Plus. I see it every week on these new streaming lists. They crank out Nat Geo after Nat Geo kind of docu-series or nature series or whatever. It's loaded at this point. So yeah, if you are bored of YouTube, Blake, ever and run through every nature content there is on there, Disney Plus has got
All your
you covered.
capybara content.
Yeah, all your capybara content. Find it first on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
all right.
Let's
move into the what we're watching segment here. I'm going to toss it over to Nathaniel Gingrich.
Hello, folks. It is a pretty short list this week, I'll be honest. I just forgot my roommate's name for a second. Was and I went to the theater. I went to say Tyler and just completely brain farted there for a second. But Was and I got to the theater to see The Kingsman. So
second one, right? Or third?
Yeah, this is technically the prequel
it's
to
one
the
of those,
to the
one of those
series.
requels.
Yeah. But yeah, enjoyable. Waz says that he thinks it's his favorite out of all of them. Not so for me. I don't know where I would put it. I did just rewatch the second one pretty recently, and I did like it more this time around, but I don't know where I'd put this one. I'm not sure taking it into the past always works for like the tone of the movie, because the first one, which is like a personal favorite of mine, is so kind of tech based and that kind of stuff, and I don't think that really comes through as well. But overall, still definitely worth a watch. If you enjoyed the first two, check it out. If you didn't necessarily enjoy the first two too much, I'd say watch the trailer for this. If you think you like it, you probably will. But yeah, definitely recommend. I got to some stuff on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of this new series. Well, it's not a new series to me, but it's a pretty common one called Death Battle. I think I've talked to it a little bit about it to Tyler, but it's basically they take two fictional characters from different universes generally and match them up in a death battle. So you can have things like Hulk versus Goku or something like that, or a lot of times it'll be things like Nightwing versus Daredevil, guys that are kind of similar-ish, but also some crazier ones too. And they use like the actual comic or like content as reference. So like if Superman punches a guy through a building or something or through a mountain, they'll be like, okay, this mountain is this high judging from everything else in the frame. That means it uses this much force to like break it down and everything, and kind of break it down more mathematically and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And then they have a decent animation. It's by Rooster Teeth, which
I was just about to say.
Yeah, who
That's made by them.
Yeah, pretty common. Although I think it started independent and then was kind of picked up by them at some point. But so I've been watching some of those. Other than that, it's been The Wire. Been watching a lot of The Wire. Really went in recently this last week or so. So I cleared season 2, which was featuring Pablo Schreiber. So shout out Master Chief. But that was still not as good as season 1 for me overall. For sure. But still very, very good. I've moved into season 3. Definitely enjoying that a little bit more. Feels a little bit more. I don't know. It's sophomore slump. It's pretty common for a lot of shows, I think, too, and movies as well. So definitely going to keep on with that for sure. But other than that, it was 9 days, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I will toss it over to Tyler.
Oh, my list is also not that crazy. I kind of feel like it's just kind of like the week flies by, man. That's all it is, But I get a lot of YouTube in my life, so that's where most of my consumption comes from. But when I do get to relax, Leah and I had pounded out the first installment of season 4 of Ozark. Excuse me. Which it's good. I've always had really good things to say about this show, but as far as this first portion of it, it's been a roller coaster. And if you haven't gotten into Ozark at all, or if you're looking for something new to get into, I highly recommend Ozark. Jason Bateman is a beast. Everybody else that's in that show does a phenomenal job. And from start to finish, it is fucking wild. So we got part 2 coming up. I would assume somewhere in like the later part of the year, probably like October, maybe even Christmas time. But we should definitely get it before the end of the year, from what I'm understanding. And then I got around to Boba Fett.
Yes.
Did you say you got around to that, or did you forget it?
I forgot on my list, but I watched that in Peacemaker as well.
Yep. I actually was going to forget Peacemaker, so I also got around to Peacemaker. So, hey, nice job there, bud. And then, yeah, right, exactly. When we lived together, we would just know.
That's true.
Now we still got each other's backs. No big deal.
Mind meld.
Yep. And then I also got around to Iron Man 2 because I had watched the first one somewhat recently, so I hadn't seen the second one in a while. So I was like, I'm feeling a little Monaco, little driver action.
You did send me that Snapchat.
I was feeling a little Iron Man, so
I want my bird.
So I sent you that snap, didn't I?
Yeah. I
don't speak Russian.
All-time great performance from Sam Rockwell in that one.
Easily one of my favorite parts of that movie. So it's so fucking funny. And then we also got around to some more Daredevil. So we are, I think, probably in the first couple episodes of season 3. So we're kind of hammering that out as well, which I've been thoroughly enjoying.
See, I don't think I watched season 3.
It gets good, man. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Right. I don't think I've seen season 3 either. Now that you say that.
I'm a recommend. So, but other than that is all I got. I've been thoroughly enjoying that stuff. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Adam.
Hey, been busy, so I don't have a ton here, but I did watch all of Cheers season 2.
Oh,
yo, let's go!
Yeah, that I popped up Netflix, saw that pop up, and I was like, honestly, that sounds like, you know how like you have those nights where you hop on to watch something at night, and it's just about 30 minutes of scrolling and hopping in between apps. Sure. What sounds right.
Yeah.
I open up Netflix, first thing that pops up, and I go, that is exactly what I want to watch right now. And I binged.
Did you watch season 1 at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I watched
Okay.
season 1 when it first came out, and it was a whole thing. Like it was one of those shows that
Yeah.
got really popular. So I didn't rewatch season 1 because I just felt like
That's okay.
it's not something you really needed to.
Agreed.
So I got through the second season, I think, in like 3 or so days. It was long, mainly because I didn't really. I had it in the back of my head, but didn't really know how they were gonna handle it. But the second season is essentially split up into 2 halves, kind of, and it's like the season right after the one that we saw in the first season, their season of competition, and then obviously COVID happens, and that stuff all fizzles, and then they have the second half of the season is like last year's, the year after that they were able to compete again. So it was a bit long. It was like 9 episodes, maybe 9 or
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit longer than I think those end up usually being around 8. But honestly, I finished it. I was like, I could do more of this. Like
It's really
I
good.
wasn't mad about it at all. So I really like. It's not really a spoiler to say this, but they do introduce their like rival school, in it.
TVCC, baby.
Yeah, TVCC. As like a second, storyline, which I thought was really smart of them to do, because it kind of gave you another sense of that, like introducing you to a new team, that you didn't get, honestly, with that first half of the season, because you kind of go in and you're like, oh, I already know all these characters and
Right.
all that stuff, and so you got to learn new people again, as you kind of did before. So I liked that a lot. That storyline was great, and then you kind of go back and forth between the two schools, which was funny how they did it, because both their colors are black and red.
Yep.
And so in order for you to tell which cheerleaders were which, sometimes they'd put like Trinity at the bottom or
Yeah.
Really?
at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because it was that close, and they all kind of, it's hard to tell the girls and guys apart, because they kind of just all look very similar. They're all cheerleaders and everything, and then they're wearing basically the same colors. So there are multiple times where you're like, I don't know who I'm watching, and so they do clarify for you, who's kind of on screen most of the time. But yeah, that season was incredible, honestly. I like I said, I binged through it so fast just because I wanted to keep watching. Crazy how in depth they go on the Jerry.
Isn't that wild?
The Jerry situation. That whole episode was crazy, because
Bro.
they, like, when you weren't kidding when they go.
I
in on
know.
it.
It's
And
like
I don't wanna say
awkward
too much 'cause
sometimes.
it's not. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because it is kind of like a cool episode, like reveal of like how deep they go into
Yeah.
that episode. But there's not a single question that you have after that episode.
Nope.
They get to everything that you could have wanted to get to, really. Which, good on them. As I said last week, like that's something that they would either have to address or very heavily ignore. And I'm glad that Netflix was like cool with them addressing it, because I think once you see that episode and everything's kind of out there and everybody talks about what happened, it would have been very hard to ignore because it was just like that was a big thing for the entire team, and they would have had to address it at some point. I feel like it would
Absolutely.
be hard to just cut it out. So, but yeah, Cheers season 2, man. I'd be down for season 3. I wouldn't be opposed. I'd probably watch it. So
obviously no spoilers, but who were you rooting for throughout the season?
Towards the end, I was on Team TVCC.
Yeah.
I wanted them and thought they were gonna win. I thought I liked their kind of storyline better.
As soon as I met Vante, their coach, I was like,
yeah.
Oh, I was like, I'm all in on TVCC.
Me too. Yeah, I thought that was I liked a lot of their characters, honestly, better than the Navarro characters.
Yeah. I really like Jada too.
People, it's like a documentary, but
yeah, right, yeah.
I kind of look at them as characters. Yeah, I liked I just vibed more with TVCC than I did at Navarro. And obviously it's kind of cool because it's a situation where it's like you don't hate one team or the other, and so they go to the finals, and you're kind of like, okay, rooting for both teams. You want both to do well, obviously, but I was especially leaning a little bit towards one. So yeah, definitely a good season. Netflix, I love the style of documentary that they've kind of created with that whole JUCO sport
oh yeah,
kind of series that they have had going. They've had now, started with Last Chance U, then did 4 seasons of that, I think, and then they had the basketball season, and they did cheer, and I think there's a few others that have very similar style, and it's great. It works really well. The stories are very compelling. It's shot very well and edited very well. So yeah, I need to keep watching more of that stuff because I think it's done really well. I like it a lot. And then
Agreed.
I watched episode 3 of Euphoria. I think episode 4 is out. I have not seen that one yet.
How
Episode 3,
how's that
very
going?
crazy. It's still heading in, I can tell, a very wild direction. It's not. It's much crazier, and the stakes are like 5 times that of the first season. It feels like, which is a very interesting decision based on how that first season once. I didn't think the show was going the place that it's gone. So we'll see.
Has
I
it
really
has it jumped the
they're kinda
shark?
yeah, I mean these first 3 episodes, I can tell they're kind of setting up something very dramatic in the latter half of the season, and I am interested to see what that will be and how they handle it. But it's good. It's still good. It's not. It doesn't have the charm anymore that the first season had. That new charm, like, oh, this is new and it's good, like that kind of thing. It's obviously been established, and I've seen the first season now, I think 3 times. So it doesn't have that newness to it anymore. But it's still pretty good. It's still very in your face, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago. How it's just almost like aggressively obscene sometimes. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I just don't think it's
I saw
do it.
I saw a tweet that
Go
was
ahead.
like the fake dick department working overtime at HBO.
I saw that. I saw that as well. Yeah, it's just I have no issue with it if it's appropriate, but it just feels like they're doing it just to do it. As I said kind of before, they're just kind of trying to be in your face just to be in your face, and I don't necessarily know if that really works for me. But I'm gonna keep watching, of course. I
Okay,
still really enjoy the show.
boomer.
Yeah, I'm getting old. All right, but that's it for what we're watching this week. BlakeHolder.
What you been watching,
Uh,
man?
yeah, I got you. I'm pulling up my watch list here. So I ended up getting to a few things. I know recently, I don't know if we were talking about the Mission Impossible or the Bourne series, but I end up watching the first 2 Mission Impossibles. Um, totally different. The first
You
one's
right?
like uh OG kind of like spy movie. And the
Mm-hmm.
second one is, I think it's a different director as well.
Yeah.
It's by a gentleman who's did a lot of kung fu movies and things of that nature. And it's just like fucking fast paced action, like back
Yeah.
to back to back to back to back.
It's the most
and that's
2000s
also
movie to
um,
ever 2000. Sorry.
no, go ahead, bro.
I said it's the most 2000 movie to ever 2000.
For sure. So that's what I was gonna say. I was like, it's also a 2000 movie, and it's just so 2000. Like, there's a scene where they're riding motorcycles like at each other, and they just like jump off and tackle each other midair. Such a bro movie, and that's also the movie. I think we were talking to Giovanni about this at the store. He was like, "Oh, which one ends like where they're on the beach and he has like the gun in the sand?" That's the second one. We
Yeah.
thought it was the third one.
Okay.
It is the second one. So I was able to confirm that. I caught that the other day. So those are cool. I'll probably make my way through that whole series eventually. And then I'll probably move on to probably the Bourne series, which I haven't seen those in a really long time. But I also haven't seen the first 4 Mission Impossibles in quite some time. The first
Yeah.
2 were very, very long.
Both of those series
Um,
would be a good rewatch at this point in time. But
Yeah.
I think you've made it through the worst of the Mission Impossibles. I mean, 2 is by far the worst, and then 3
For
is
sure.
3 is Philip
Yeah.
Seymour Hoffman, and that one is actually probably still my favorite just because he plays such a great villain in that one.
Mhm.
And then you have 4's Ghost Protocol, right? And
Mhm.
then that one's regarded as one of the best. That was the best one until I think Fallout came out. Really, that's
Yeah.
what most people would consider.
And then there's Rogue Nation,
Ghost
I think.
Rogue Nation in between Fallout and
Mhm.
Ghost Protocol. So yeah,
So, yeah.
pretty good batting average for Mission Impossible.
I mean, yeah, for 6 films, I mean, they're not all
4
going to be
5 out of 6, yeah.
stars.
It's
So-
another one kind of like Fast and Furious, where it's a franchise that changes with the times, but that also like
Mhm.
has had a weird kind of revival success in like the last 10, 12 years or so.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So, looking forward to finishing up those. Then, like I said, after that, I'll
For
probably
sure.
tackle the Bourne series. Outside of that, I end up watching When a Stranger Calls, which I touched on
Oh, yeah.
briefly, and that's the 2006 remake. A very shitty teen horror movie for any of you guys who have seen that. I'm sure Adam hasn't seen it. Ty, have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure Nathaniel has. I think we kind of talked about it before at the store.
For sure.
So yeah, that was just something I turned on Netflix one time. It was like 11 p.m. I was like, what can I possibly put on? And it ended up being that. So yeah, it was. Yeah.
The original of that's
it's
supposed
bad.
to be pretty good.
That's actually something I want to see. I have not seen the original.
Yeah, it makes sense too.
That's actually, I think the 2006 one, is that like the second remake?
It could be. I mean, everyone knows the babysitter story, obviously.
Right. Basically, it's a babysitter story for anyone who hasn't seen any of those. So it's shitty, dude. She just makes 2000s horror, right? She just makes a lot of bad decisions.
PG-13 too.
Yeah. She willingly leaves like an armed house with like a security system. It's just shit that just makes no sense. So, that's all I got to. And I got to 9 days, which is something that I've seen for the second time now.
Hey.
That's actually probably me and Adam pushing this one on to the fellas for the podcast. I think I caught it first. And I was like, wow, this movie's amazing. And then Adam saw it, I think, probably like the weekend after that and was like, yeah, I can pretty much vouch. This movie's fucking awesome. And then fast forward, probably 5 months, 6 months, we got on pod. So
yeah, about 6 months.
Yeah. So
didn't take too long. This is like such a close second for my movie of the year last year with behind Green Knight. I think Green Knight might take it.
I'm right with you, dude. I got the same 1 and 2, basically 1A, 1B, to be honest. It's so close.
Honestly, and just because they're such different movies.
Right. Yeah. I think I lean a little bit more towards 9 days.
Really?
But yeah, I think that's just we'll dig into it. I think that's a little more palatable for most people.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's why I would lean to that. That's a really easy recommend to most people. Well, I guess that spoiled my fucking recommend. But yeah, let's jump into that. So
all right. Well, welcome listeners to the main review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how our review segment works?
What up, folks? I'm Nathaniel. If you are new to the podcast, or maybe you've just forgotten, the way our main review segment here works is we'll talk about the movie. This week it's 9 days. We'll talk about its IMDb page, who made it, what year it came out, all that good stuff. We'll go over the IMDb summary. If we like it, we'll talk about it. If we don't, we'll come up with something better. And then we'll go into our kind of first reactions, recommendations. We'll all go around and decide, do we recommend this movie, yes or no? Has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. From then on, it's going to be spoiler time. It's pretty simple. If you don't want it spoiled, check out before then. But do come back because we will excuse me. I was so close. I was so close to the end there. Do come back after the spoiler section. We will mark it with time codes in the description for you and see where this ranks up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything ranked on the podcast that we've watched so far. With that being said, Adam, tell me about 9 days.
I would love to. This is a recent movie. IMDb has it in 2020, but I think its wide release was 2021.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So maybe I'll give this my movie of the year for 2020.
Ooh.
And then just give Green Knight 2021. That way we just avoid all conflict. They both get my movie of the year just for 2 separate years. Yeah, rated R, with a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes, and a not terrible, but a little lower than I would have hoped IMDb rating of 6.9 out of 10.
Yeah, man, I saw that too, and I was kind of like, wow, I didn't expect that.
That is interesting.
Yeah, like I said, a little low, but when I think of like a general public's opinion, that does make sense. I think most people are just, this is not going to be a movie that is for like everybody. So it's still not bad. 6.9. on IMDb, pretty good. Directed by Ed Sonoda, written as well by Ed Sonoda. His directorial debut, really. Everything else on his IMDb is a lot of shorts. Actually, all shorts. So this is kind of his first directing debut. He also wrote the shorts that he directed. So, but this is his first like big release, and it's a pretty good one. The cast includes Winston Duke, I got to go through it's an order of appearance, so I got to kind of filter through here. Winston Duke, Benedict Wong is returning. He is Wong from Marvel MCU. Who else here? Trying to find
Zazie Beetz.
Zazie Beetz.
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz, of course.
How do you
Bill
pronounce your name? Is it Zazie or is it Zazie?
Who knows?
Zazie, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Zazie. All right.
Could be
Adam
wrong.
knows.
Pretty sure it's Zazie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Zazie. I've heard it pronounced.
Yeah.
We'll
Bill
go with that.
Skarsgård as
Bill
well.
Skarsgård.
Pretty loaded
David-
cast, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like, once you
honestly.
start like watching the film.
Yeah. David Rysdahl. Trying to find
Tony
other Ariana Ortiz. Man. I'm trying to find the other ones.
I think that's about it. There's a
There's
Perry
one I'm
Smith.
missing. Where is it? What's his name? It's Alex. What's his
Tony Hale.
Tony Hale, thank you. That's the big one that I was trying to get before I forgot. Yeah, I would say those are your main cast members. There's like maybe one or two more that are kind of show up, but pretty small cast for the most part. On this one, pretty small scale here. The IMDb summary reads as follows: a reclusive man conducts a series of interviews with human souls for a chance to be born. I'm
I
okay
like it.
with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Pretty good. For how like in depth and complex kind of and out there this like the concept of this movie is, I feel like it kind of nails it in a one sentence, in a oneer. So pretty good, I would say. To fill in the gaps though, any gaps that may have been left behind by that summary, this is 9 days. Winston Duke plays a man who is, as the summary said, interviewing souls, as I guess what you could call them, for a chance to live. But on top of that, you kind of have this whole setup. As if you see the trailer, they have a bunch of older TVs that are just playing first-person perspectives of various people's lives. You're watching people live, and so the souls then watch those TVs, and Will, the main character, Winston Duke, is kind of in charge of picking and monitoring those people's lives. I don't want to say too much more than that. That's kind of the general concept. Again, a bit out there, not for everybody, but it's right up my alley personally, and that's where I'm going to kind of start off with. This is 100% a recommend for me, if you couldn't tell already. Very high on this movie. And this was, when I saw it, just like such a breath of fresh air, where we just kind of came off Soul pretty recently before this came out. But this was like even more so getting at the philosophical things that I like personally really enjoy, but it was also done in such a unique and creative way where I never really kind of considered something like this. And I love when I'm presented with a new idea and it's executed in a very well thought out manner, because this is like just a short little concept. It's not something like, this is not how I really think the world is, but it's like cool to kind of see it that way. And it definitely is a movie that changes your perspective on things, and it kind of sticks with you a little bit afterwards. So but I'm very curious to see what Nathaniel and Ty have to say.
You want to go first, Ty, or you want me?
I fucking hate this. No, this is a great movie. I like the overall premise of it. I think it gets really deep when it needs to, and I think it kind of stays a little more superficial when it needs to. So I think it does a really good job. It basically kind of like what Blake said. It's more digestible for most people, and it does a really good job at doing so. It doesn't go overly too deep, unless it has to, but it does it in a really good way to where people can grasp at it. And I think it's a really cool concept. Adam, like you said, that's kind of how I was explaining it to Leah from Soul. I was like, she's like, she was just kind of struggling with it because at first it's a little, hard to kind of map out, and, you don't really know whether these people are already dead or,
right,
waiting soul. And so like, there's a little bit of a hurdle you have to kind of get over there. But I was like, they're just think of them as like the little guys from Soul. They haven't like really found their purpose yet, and like this guy's job is to see if they have enough purpose. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
So, but yeah, overall, I'm gonna recommend. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I'll pick up from there. As we've kind of talked about a couple times now, I think it does make a pretty easy two-hander with Soul for sure. Yeah, big recommend for me. I've actually already recommended this movie to my aunt and uncle, so there you go. That tells you how quickly
cool.
it's moving around. I think I think this is a movie that is well crafted. I think it's a simple concept, if not a big question and a far-reaching concept, but it's a simple concept that's told well, and every part of the story builds off of what you are being fed on screen. So it's really tightly written. It understands the way we understand drama and how to build that. It smartly plays the human side of things, or I guess the emotional side of things, on a really humanistic level, and uses that to create the drama rather than using the premise to create the drama or anything like that. It's really tightly woven together and really well done. So big recommend for me. If you look at it, it's a movie that's had like a huge amount of production companies on it, and was a Sundance pick. So I think that definitely has something to do with it too. So yeah, I think it's definitely a big old recommend from me.
Cool. I guess that leaves me. I kind of spoiled my thoughts earlier, but obviously self-explanatory. I'm the one who brought this to everybody who's watched this on this podcast. As I came away from the theater, just going in, and I wanted something to watch with a buddy of mine. Shout out Tay, and yeah, we just left and was like, "Wow, this was really good for going into a movie completely blind." And end up recommending it to the gentleman here, and everybody likes it. So I would highly recommend. It's up there for my favorite movie that I saw this past year. As me and Adam said, we kind of go back with The Green Knight, and I think I would pick this one a little bit more palatable, as I've already said. Good story of just like life and your purpose and things of that nature, where it's just totally different from The Green Knight. I think The Green Knight's awesome though, but kind of more of like what's the word? Like a fantasy-esque, like that might not float everybody's boat. That hardly floats my boat, to be honest. But that movie is that good that I enjoy it, if that makes sense.
It's much more of a genre than this one is in some
right.
ways. And I think we've all been begging for something new ideas, anything new IPs,
for sure,
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, original content and everything.
Yeah, this feeds that very well.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely recommend. So I would recommend anybody watch this of any age, to be honest, for the most part.
Well,
as
it is
you said,
rated
you
R.
recommended to. I think you said. Did you say your uncle or something?
Yeah, my aunt and uncle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anybody above, to be honest, I don't know, probably like 14, 15 could completely handle this movie.
Yeah, it's not like
sure.
overly aggressive or
Yeah, but
it has some mature themes, I would say, but
sure,
and it is rated R. Keep that in mind, but it's not something that's like super bad.
Right. Was The Green Knight rated R? Just random question. Okay.
As far
as let's dive into it.
Almost positive was. Yeah, so that'll be it for the non-spoiler segment here. So if you've not seen that 9 days and do not want it spoiled for you, and trust me, you do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead and check the episode description where I have left a timestamp you can jump to, where you'll be taken to our ranking of the movie, Up Upon the Entropy List.
Up upon.
Spoilers.
Shit goes down.
Shit goes down. I was about to say that. I was like, not a ton of shit goes down in this one, but it's like shit you kind of like start to really care about,
Shit goes down immediately, I'd say.
It does actually, yeah. it goes real quick. Movie picks up pace real quick.
It's paced very well, this movie, overall, I'd say.
Incredibly well. Yeah, incredibly well. Where I don't really feel the 2 hours. I could
Yeah.
like tell. I could tell about like an hour in. I was like,
Mhm.
probably got about 45 minutes left. Let me check. And
Right.
I was exactly where I thought I was, and I was like, I'm not even mad. It feels good, at a good pace. Doesn't necessarily feel those full 2 hours, which is
Yeah.
a good sign for a movie, of course.
I agree. And with it having that 2 hour runtime, like that's fine. How many times do we get on here and complain that movies are 2 hours and 40 minutes? And it's just, you know what I
For
mean?
sure.
It's unbearable, man.
Yeah.
So they definitely hit the runtime on the head.
So let's
4 hours.
get into the
The Snyder
spoilery
cut.
bits.
Spoilery bits.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, so Will's out there, right? He's a man that's lived before. That's why he's in the position that he is in the kind of in the great beyond or so, and he's making these choices on whether folks are coming and going, and he gets rid of the soft boy, and Zazie Beetz is this kind of mystery character, offbeaten, or offbeat kind of soul, and Will's broken down by the world. And do you think, obviously the movie ends in a pretty ambiguous way. Do you guys all feel like, what are your personal headcanons for what ends there? Because there's a couple ways you can read it, I think.
But Adam.
I personally read it as, I don't necessarily know if I think she ends up getting the chance of life. I like to think that she would, that like
Right.
she's able to like reverse that decision. But I don't think it really matters for the story, because I think the whole time you're kind of the impression of like, oh, who's he gonna pick? Who's he gonna pick? Like, what is he gonna value? All that stuff. And then at a certain point, as they reveal more and more about Will's character, and you kind of realize that he's very not okay in his own way, and that ending is him getting a second chance at life, essentially, and not only a second chance at how he goes about his day to day, and I put that in air quotes because time is kind of weird in that area, it seems like, but how he will go about in wherever the great beyond / before that he is going forward, how he'll look at life and how he chooses it, who gets to live it and everything, but also like how he looks back on his time alive. He kind of can reflect on that differently and value that differently, and he's very jaded, and at the beginning of the movie, or most of the movie, he's very jaded in his view of the world, especially after his Amanda, his prodigal pick, commits suicide, decides to give up. Like, he's down pretty bad, and so I think the whole purpose of that is the whole movie he is the one giving out a chance at life, and then at the end it's revealed Zazie Beetz' character gave him another chance at life, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how I kind of interpret that end. Again, I hope that the events after the final shot are he somehow gets Zazie Beetz, Emma, a chance, and maybe there's a way both her and can get a little tube TV spot. But yeah, I do. Part of me does really wish there was an answer to that question.
Sure, of course.
But
That's what makes it good, though.
Yeah, it doesn't take away my enjoyment of the movie at all.
That's what I think this movie gets really right, is the right level of ambiguity at the end, that the message is clear, the story. I think by answering that question the way that you have, you've proven the film's craft.
Yes.
that you're taking away from it is not, oh, I wonder what happened next. It's both everyone here that we're kind of all talking about it. Is that it's, well, the story meant this to me, it's not necessarily I wanted to know what happened next in the plot, sort of thing. Because like Brandon and I were talking about it after. I was like, oh, see, obviously he sends Keo down, and then she becomes his like new homie that like helps choose people.
That's what you thought was gonna happen?
Well, I was like that in my personal reading of the movie.
Okay.
Like that's that like what
Keo
happens
gets
next.
his chance at life.
Keo gets the next chance at life. Like I think you could see you could argue that like maybe the Rick character who you see have like kind of the snap at school could end up passing away or something bad happen out of that, and then maybe Kyo gets that next chance, and then she is kept as his like thing because she helps him retain that what is human and what is that spark kind of thing.
Yeah, I had never even considered that like a thought or
possibility.
Like a potential thought.
Sure.
A possibility. Yeah, so that's interesting that you say that because that thought had never really occurred to me.
But what are some other things that I liked? I liked the movie didn't pull any punches. That like they're like, yeah, you're gonna disappear, and if I'm gonna try and make this as good as you can, and then you see with the Tony Hale character, like
your last moment.
Yeah, if it's not great, it sucks, and like the movie shows you that, and like that where I think a lot of other movies could sidestep that or kind of not leave a lot of those questions unanswered. It does a good job of keeping those in there while also keeping you reminding you of things like later on when I love the bit later on when Will's like, I send sheep and everyone else is sending wolves. And you're like, oh yeah, because everyone would be one of these people that's been up there at this point. So even the shitty people in the world, you have to understand that there's someone else who thought they had what it takes to basically, have your chance at life too and everything. So I thought the movie just hit a really pitch perfect balance of the story, of telling you what you needed to know to gain the emotional story from it, while also leaving those other little world building questions out there, either unanswered or in places where you didn't feel like they were burning a hole in your pocket afterwards or something like that.
I definitely, that's something I really enjoy about this movie is it answers the questions it absolutely needs to, and it leaves enough like open to interpretation where it's like, how does this work? Who knows? Does it matter? No. Like you know enough, and even they even play it up like, oh, Kyo, are you his boss? He's like, I never really thought of it that way, because obviously maybe in that realm, whatever you want to call it, things probably don't work that way. Maybe like that's kind of like what you're led to believe. Like things aren't as this or that as they are when you're alive or in this world, whatever it is. So yeah, they definitely just answer just enough. You don't really need to know much more. I would love to know more. I'd love to know what this kind of world is that Tsunoda has created, and I don't know if he knows. I think he kind of just had this cool idea, and I think answering those questions could be a slippery slope.
For sure.
Yeah, I think.
All right, go ahead, Blake.
No worries. I think I really enjoy it because at the end, obviously, there's that ambiguity. But it's the age-old question of when you're just looking at something, and obviously you do root for Zazie Beetz' character and just her outlook of life and positivity and things of that nature.
Sure.
But then anybody who's obviously human who's viewed this realizes like, well, unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that.
Right.
And that's why, and then at that point, then you start to understand like, okay, well, he's probably going to go with Bill Skarsgård, considering Will has been alive,
right,
and he understands how the world works, and everything that Zazie Beetz is saying in theory sounds awesome. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Things should go that way, and if this is the cause of something, then this should be the reaction, right? But we're humans, and like that shit goes wrong all the time, right. Every day, shit goes wrong. So yeah, it's interesting. It makes you reflect on life in that regard for some people who are just crazy optimistic, some people who are very realistic, and it kind of tightropes that line. And I don't know, it's just really interesting to me as somebody who's like a very grounded person myself. I feel like I am, so I can certainly see kind of the ups and downs.
Ty, you've been a little quiet over there.
Yeah, I was just kind of waiting for everybody to kind of do their own thing. Overall, I'm just really happy with it. But I think my favorite part probably had to have been the poem at the end, where it gets pretty deep in the sense that it's cool because you really don't. He's kind of breaking out in this monologue poetry thing, and it's very hard to kind of grasp it, what he might be doing. And then you kind of, your question up until then is, what did she write on that piece of paper? And now you kind of get this answer because he's going through this whole thing, and you realize that she probably wrote on that piece of paper, "Tell me about your life." and he goes into this big thing, and finally you realize he's just kind of describing his life and what it's like to wake up, with the sun touching your face and all the emotions that just kind of go through on, bad shit that happens. And it's pretty cool to just kind of to be able to see it from that point of view. And it's really great that they, could fit that into a poem. And obviously, Winston Duke killed, pretty much all his emotionality throughout the whole film. Sure. But I think that ending poem really kind of nailed it for him. And that's really what kind of took it home for me. It was kind of the nail in the coffin, no pun intended, to the whole film for me. So, but I would actually like to think too that Emma, that he can't reverse his choice. I think that's just a part of life. You can't can't go back on your choices, and you kind of get to live with that. Right. And I'm sure maybe he can write a message up to the whoever his boss is and be like, well, can I keep her around the house? Sure. But yeah, it answers a lot of questions, and it doesn't answer a lot of questions. And I think overall it's written really well. It's acted very well. I think one of my only other favorite parts, and I mean, it's all really good, but another thing that stuck out to me was when they were sitting around the table for like their I'll call it their last supper. But how they're going through their disgusting stories, and obviously all their stories are pretty funny, but it's really cool because you kind of, like you said, Blake, there's that line that, people are kind of on one side or the other, and you either have people that, see all the deaths and the bad things that are happening, and they're kind of jaded and blinded by that, and they don't see all the good. And then you have the other people that are looking at all the good things that are happening, and they're also very blind to the bad things that are happening, or either that or they just choose to ignore it, regardless of what side of that you're on. But it's very crazy, and I think there needs to be kind of that balance in the world. But I think it's overall very cool, and it's kind of I like that it's kind of a mind bender, but it doesn't push you too hard. It definitely makes you think about some stuff, but it doesn't like overall like melt your brain.
Sure.
Right. And just those are all great points. And to your point where Zazie Beetz' character, what is it? Is it Emma? Emma. For context listeners, as Nathaniel and Ty kind of touched on, each person, once they're basically like eliminated from the interview, right, from the job interview, they're given their choice of one last like surreal life moment that they would get. And pretty much it's understood in the movie that like no matter what they choose, Winston Duke or Will and what's the Asian gentleman's name?
Keo.
In the movie. Yeah, so they'll go ahead and make it happen, right? There's been really no debates on any of that stuff. Like, hey, as they said, like, hey, if it sucks, like that's a terrible feeling. And then Zazie Beetz is eliminated, and she has her choice of what she wants her surreal life moment to be. And there's like, yeah, no way I'm doing that. So like that was like the huge dilemma that kind of draws you like, okay, I wonder what it may be. Then Tyler exposes what it was. So, I mean, it was just very powerful. I mean, it's kind of a tearjerker, to be honest. I didn't cry, but there's a lot of emotions watching the movie. And yeah, it held up well on a second watch for me, to be honest. And yeah, I think on a second watch, this solidified that I like this more than The Green Knight. I would say this is my favorite film.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it on the head earlier. This is just a little bit more digestible for most people from a purely numbers standpoint. But it's pretty close. I'd have to watch them almost back to back to kind of really get a better feel. But I would actually say a lot of my emotions came out when the bike ride scene. I think that's where it kind of hit me the most. I obviously she's crying, but that shot in general was just very very beautifully done.
And the people like fade away as the scene's over. So yeah, great movie, dude. This is awesome. As we always say, we like original content, original ideas. This is the type of shit we're talking about. Don't give me the 10th Fast and the Furious movie, please.
Yeah, I was.
They're gonna give it to you whether you like it or not.
I know they are.
Just, you know.
I
Go
was.
ahead, Nathaniel.
I was reading it as she asked to see him perform.
That's what I was gonna say. Is
Yeah, it was like
I
that
think
play
to
he was
see
talking about.
the monologue that.
That's what it was. Monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Walt Whitman's "Song of Myself," which he's kind of doing an adapted version of there. Which, great American poet, great. Obviously, I think I first turned to Woz. I was like, "Is this Shakespeare?" And he's like, "I have." It feels like it has to be in some ways, but
Sure.
yeah, What's to Do performs the hell out of that. I think Benedict Wong, low-key MVP in this too. The accent's a little wavy in some points, but I loved it overall. Yeah, just really, really great performances, I think, all around.
Yeah, I think Winston Duke's just that monologue at the end, of course, but like throughout the movie, he just knows exactly how to play this character, and I don't think he could play it any better. Where you have this character who is conflicted in what he feels and what he thinks and how he sees, because you kind of it's revealed through Keo that he is as cold as he may seem to all of the new interviewees. He is actually someone who cares a lot, like cares too much almost. And once you know that, you can kind of see that, especially on a rewatch. You can kind of see how much he cares, both about the people that he's chosen and these interviewees. How he asks for that first guy's little drawing of the beach. Like he wants to keep that just because he thinks it's beautiful, but you don't really get that vibe from him at all. He plays it as this guy's cold, but warm inside, and he just has that that wall up, and I think he just plays that to a T throughout the movie. And then the release of that inner will at the end and through that monologue is just really, really well done.
Did anyone pause it to read the note that Amanda left?
I did not.
Amanda?
No, I actually couldn't get a good look at it, to be 100% honest with you.
Okay.
I didn't pause to read it, but I don't really know if you could make out any words, and I think that's intentional.
Yeah, the only thing that looked like it said was, I thought I saw the words immune system, and so I was like wondering if that was going to be like a reveal too, that Amanda was like had some secret medical,
like terminally ill,
medical condition or something like that, and I don't know if that was on there. Like again, then the question becomes, how did he miss her going to all the medical appointments and shit? But
no, he would. That's the thing, is he would have known that. I think he would have known that.
But
so
I do want to see if I can like go back and see what's written exactly on that note too, because I just think there's a lot of detailed layers to this movie too that you can kind of pick apart.
That once you go back and watch it a second time, you'll have your eye out for them.
Yeah, I was thinking the 9 days could be kind of a synonym for obviously like the 9 months of pregnancy too, that you could kind of be going through with like the souls.
Okay,
everything.
yeah, I didn't think of that.
And then like you see at the end too, there's like the camera comes back online when they're getting close to the new soul going out down to Earth and everything. But
yeah. So there's a point earlier that Tyler made about that dinner scene that I would just want to touch on really quick. I love how when they're talking about what have you been watching, and it's like the same thing as you, and I think that just has like a great life message of things are how you want to see them.
Sure.
Kent is obviously very jaded and pessimistic about the world and life, and he's looking at all the bad things that happen, and obviously you just have the complete opposite of that in Emma, the optimistic person. It's just two polar opposite characters that are kind of the opposites of are contrasting sides of Will. Of course, you have the guy who he thinks is just going to be the best for surviving life because he sees it as such a battle, who's tough and he's just going to be hard, and he's already hardened. He doesn't need to be adjusted all to life. And then you have Emma, who is you can kind of tell is almost like the emotional side of Will. It feels like they're very kind of in sync, and it just as characters when you eventually see Will at the end. Yeah, great scene, great setup there. The other thing that I loved about this movie is the editing of it, because obviously you're in this kind of like different dimension where time is they're segmented into days and you have nights and everything like that, but it's kind of ambiguous as to how that exactly works because it's not linear time as we experience it necessarily. And so when you have when they're going through this interview process, it's clear that they aren't all in the same house at the same time, all of the interviewees and everything, even though it all takes place in the same house. And they kind of just cut back and forth in between everyone's time in the house, and it's not ever clear when they're there, as far as throughout the day, how long they've been there for, or if these are all just happening
or where
at the
they
same
go,
time in some kind of what did you say?
or where they go,
Or where they go when they leave. Yeah, all that stuff. But it's also edited where it's like they edit it so it's like continuous and it's all happening at the same time. And also kind of like, if there's in some kind of fourth dimension kind of thing, obviously, and time doesn't work the same way. Like, that's very real and possible. Is things can happen at the same time. It's all ambiguous. They don't need to answer that question, and they kind of play into how all that would work, and I really, really like that. And it's very effective for the storytelling because it would have gotten very convoluted if they tried to keep continuity through it all, and be like, oh, you're going to come at this time, you're going to come at this time. The fact that they were just able to switch back and forth between characters, especially when he's showing them the same moments or doing the same thing to each candidate, where he asks the same question in the initial interview about the Holocaust, or when he's showing them Fernando's perspective and how he got into the wheelchair where he was shot. And so they're able to just cut back and forth between them without any questions ever being asked because of that, which is very smart. Really like that. That's probably one of my favorite parts of this movie for sure. Very well directed too. Etsunoda killed it for a debut like this. Love the style of it as well. I love the choice of just using like this old, I don't want to call it antique, but like older technology as far as the tube TVs, the VCR, the 3-color projector that has the red, white, and blue, or whatever it is. All that stuff. I loved the aesthetics of that. I thought that was really, really cool.
For sure, man.
Ready to see where it goes?
Yeah, I want to keep talking about this, but like,
I'm with you, dude. Like I said, I love this film, man. There's no way around it. I already know where I want to put it.
I haven't taken a look at that list yet, but man, I would just love to keep talking about this. But we got to go. Maybe we'll do maybe further down the road, do like a retrospective bit of sizzle episode or something on that, where we can just talk about theory and philosophy and that big question: why are we here?
Could be.
As Tyler said, that's life, man. That's what this movie is. One big that's life moment.
Yeah.
Scary as you get older.
Very, very.
See, I think this is one of those things where I think this makes you kind of embrace it a little bit more. Like,
for sure,
you have one life to live, and you have a lot of choices to make, and you just kind of got to make the choices that you do and live with it, and just keep going forward. And I hope that most people look at this and come out with more of a positive outlook, and to drive forward no matter what you're going through, and know that you were given a gift of life, and you can absolutely take advantage of that.
Right. Definitely. Oh, good point.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I was gonna bring it back to that bicycle scene we were talking about, where I think that's kind of the movie, or the moment that this movie like really hit me, is like she's going on this bicycle ride through just a town, and to most people like that's such a benign thing. That's something that I could do any day I wanted to, and you just take that small stuff for granted. But like for her, like that's the biggest deal ever. And I think that's kind of like the movie's almost message. Like we take everything day to day just so much for granted, and that those little things like that, or the beach, like going somewhere, having that scenery, all that stuff, you take so much for granted day to day that you really shouldn't. And so that's the message I took away from my first time watching that, and has kind of kept with me, honestly. Like I think about this movie quite often since I first seen it.
I'm with you, dude, for sure.
Yeah, and rewatching again was great, and I'll probably honestly rewatch it again sometime soon, just because I do really like it.
Yeah, and, I think I'm gonna buy this one on my Vudu.
Oh yeah, I already got my hard copy. Might buy a digital copy. You never know. All right, well, I think that'll do it for spoiler talk here on 9 Days. So welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and rank 9 Days up upon the Entropy list.
Up upon.
For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies that we review on a single list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description where it is linked to my Letterboxd. Alrighty. This is an interesting one. I feel like
Blake knows, man. Let it rip.
Blake knows. All right, yeah. Go for it, Blake.
You want me to kick it off?
Yeah, might as well, man. You know where it's going.
Yeah, I'm going 10.
10.
After Inception, above Your Name.
I had a feeling this was gonna break the top 10 for you. I was just trying to decide where. I was like, is he gonna like go as high as Hereditary? Is he gonna put it like by Get Out? I was like, where's he going with this one?
I was close to Get Out. I was close to going between Prisoners and Get Out, but Inception is obviously that's going to go down as one of the best movies of all time for like that time period, and Nolan and action and things of that nature. But between this and Your Name, not necessarily similar genres, but a little bit, you know, and kind of it makes you like reflecting on life and things of that nature. And this just being live action does a little bit more for me, so that's why I put it there.
That's a great spot.
What are you thinking? I know that's tough for you though. Your Name that was like your baby that we put on here.
Well, I have Your Name and Whiplash right there, rounding out the top 10. So
yeah, you got two of your
if I
babies.
put it
right next to
higher,
each other.
it's slanderous almost. Yeah. Well, shit. Someone else has got to go before me. I don't know yet.
I got mine.
There's a lot. Okay, go. Let her rip.
I got it at 13. Right below Green Room, right above Green Knight.
Okay.
Splitting the green.
Yeah, I'm splitting the green. In there. But
the green team.
Yeah, when I kind of look at the list there, I just feel those are 3 kind of similar budgeted movies, like kind of similar tone, not necessarily tone maybe, but similar just level, I would say, in terms of like a good idea kind of executed well and kind of like we're talking about a little bit, something fresh, something new. Not going to be
blockbuster films.
Yeah,
like
maybe not something that's going to reach iconic status, but is definitely going to be like a, hey man, you should definitely check this out. Recommend for me
for sure.
Definitely a hidden gem one for me. So I think that's where I got it on there. So and even if you want to include Whiplash in that run too, I think that's another movie that's kind of around that same level too.
And honestly, Your Name. I mean, if you went into anime.
I mean,
you're right.
I think like Japan globally, Your Name might be a little bit bigger because I think that's like one of the like top grossing movies of all time over there. But
yeah, it is.
But yeah, for sure, I think at least stateside for sure. I think you could argue they're all kind of in that same range. So that's where I got it. 13. Feels good to me.
Good point.
Ty,
I'm actually right with Blake. I'm at 10.
10.
Yep.
Hey.
All right. Very fair.
All right, Adam.
Upon
what are we doing, man? We got something cracking the top 10 or what?
Unfortunately, no. But we were very close. I'm putting it at 12. Putting it at 12, right below Whiplash and above Green Room. Whiplash and Your Name are just too.
They're
critical.
too big for you, man.
Yeah, they're right there. But you know what? I have to clump them in. I can't put them too much below because this one has joined Your Name and Whiplash for me. Might even crack. I have to revisit my top 10 movies of all time list, but this might crack it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm glad you like this, though. I'm glad everybody likes this for that matter.
It's right up my alley. Like I love philosophical stuff like this, and
for sure,
you kind of think a little bit more. And I love new ideas, and I love how this was just both of those presented in such a great way. Like I almost want a sequel for this movie, but I know I would hate it, you know.
Yeah, just one of those things. Yeah. I'm okay with it.
I would love to see. Can't wait to see what Etsunoda does in the future.
For sure, I'm with you on that though.
If this is his first crack at something like this, I would love to see if he does more kind of movies along this line that are a little bit more make you think movies, a little more philosophical. I be interested to see where he goes from here. But yeah, so what did I say? 12.
Yep.
All right, that would bring it down. The final ranking, communal ranking, at 11.25.
Oh man,
it is to be tie broken with Whiplash.
Oh, I think Whiplash probably has it.
yeah, it's gonna
I think
lose for
Whiplash is gonna
sure.
take it. I think Whiplash is gonna take it. Yeah, 8.5.
Oh man,
8.5 on IMDb. So that puts Whiplash at number 12. Still really good for a movie of the scale and size.
9 days at 12.
Caliber.
9 days at 12.
9 days at 12. I think that's solid. That's a solid spot for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm
That's
cool with that.
respectable. When you look at the movies below it, Green Knight, Green Room, Dune, Judas, Spider-Man: No Way Home, E2 Mama,
For sure.
Dunkirk, Requiem, Kill Bill. I mean, that's a good spot. Respectable for sure.
Yeah, and anything above it is tough. Like I said, the Inception was the hard cutoff, as kind of Nathaniel articulated that a little better. Just a totally different budgeted film, like as a blockbuster. You know what I mean? It's like that was the hard cut. I'm like, okay, I can't say it's better than that. But everything else is like you got a talking point, man. So I'm cool between Your Name, Whiplash, and 9 Days. So all good films. I like them all.
I love this one, man. This was a great one.
But I knew it was gonna be tough to get Adam off of Whiplash and Your Name, though. It was tough. This is close.
I can't. Yeah, like I said, it's right up there with both those movies.
Yeah,
it really is.
Whiplash, another debuting director too, with Damien Chazelle.
Chazelle. Yeah. So can't wait to see, like I said, where Oda goes after this one. Man, this is going to be one of those movies where it's one of those movies I wish I could like watch again for the first time. You know?
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I love it.
This is a movie that I can't wait to watch with somebody that hasn't seen before. Obviously, that was my first time at the theater. I saw with one of my close friends. Me and him went, but yeah, this is one like I want to sit down like somewhere and watch this with somebody who's never seen it before and just like get their opinion on it.
Definitely, this is definitely one to like show to someone and get their reactions from. It's a Papa Schwartz approved movie. He has seen it before and does enjoy it.
Perfect.
Hey, yeah, I'm working on getting my dad to watch this one.
We should make a logo of your dad's head, and like around it should say Papa Schwartz approved.
Approval. Yeah.
And then somehow get like that stamp on any movie that he approves. Just put it like in the bottom like right hand corner. Like a first edition, like Papa Schwartz approved.
Oh,
that's funny.
God. He doesn't need more encouragement.
He needs his own.
It's either his head or it's a New Balance. Shoe.
Just one shoe, not even a pair.
Yeah, no, it's just a single shoe.
He needs his own Letterboxd list too. The Papa Schwartz approval list.
He's gonna love this too much, guys. I don't think you realize what you've done. I don't think you realize
awesome.
Created a monster.
I have with them. What you just gotten me into.
Yeah. Shout out Pops, man.
I got you.
Pops. Thanks. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the review here, guys. The next week's review is Training Day, which is currently streaming on HBO Max.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
This is gonna be first for me and Nathaniel. I believe not for Ty and Blake, right?
No, I've seen this. Classic Denzel lines in this, man, bro.
Definitely seen this.
I'm sure you've seen some of the clips from this film. Exactly, yeah. There's no way you're gonna sit through this whole movie and be like, oh, I've never seen this scene before. I'd be surprised just with like pop culture and like internet memes.
I'm sure
you've definitely seen some of the stuff in here.
Then. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely one I've wanted to get. Oh, I'm sorry. Definitely one I've wanted to get to for a while. I think I was talking about it a little bit on pod, but kind of been waiting for a good moment, and this is a good moment. So I'm excited for this one too.
Yeah, I'm excited to give this a watch. This is not really one that's been at the top of my watch list, but of course one I've heard of and wanted to see. So I'm glad we're getting around to it.
Yeah. What year is that? Like 01, 02?
99 maybe.
Wow. 01.
Yeah.
20 years old. 21 years old. The movie's now able to drink.
Truth.
Crazy.
Well,
all right, fellas.
Check that out. Yeah, check that on HBO Max. Join us for our review next week. Nathaniel, do we have a 5-star review of our own podcast?
I certainly do. This is also from our November 4th call. This is from Airhead, and it's addressed Antlers episode. So the way this works, folks, is if you give us a 5-star review on the podcast in Apple Podcast, you will hear that review read out on the podcast. So pretty simple. You could be nice, you could be fun, you could be mean. Just don't be evil. Say whatever you want. Just give us a 5-star review, and that's how that works. So this week we have the Antlers episode, like I said, and it says you guys are actually entertaining to listen to. Thank you. You talk about stuff I would think about randomly. We're casual like that, and like the things we were only scared of as kids. I was scared of Goofy from Mickey Mouse as a kid. Spiders don't bother me. Well, I'm glad spiders don't bother you, but I'm sorry that Goofy gave you some fear there, Airhead. But hopefully,
I would recommend that you go back and watch a Goofy movie and the Extreme Goofy movie, and I hope that your outlook on Goofy is different now.
Just confront the fear, cold turkey, huh? Just go right at it.
Yeah, I mean, just face that shit. Plus, those are really great movies.
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I used that incorrect. But
I mean, I guess you could just say quit that fear.
Yeah, quit the fear, cold turkey. Get in there, bro.
Okay. Yeah, that works. That works. Yeah.
But yeah, that's our 5-star review for this week's folks. So if you want to have your 5-star review read out on the podcast, please review us.
Or you can send us an email to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com, where we have our email from one Brandon Wozni, the roommate that Nathaniel cannot remember he had earlier today. He says, his email is titled Whoa.
Whoa.
And he says, you all really debated the best spy movie, and not one of you mentioned Spy Kids. Danny Trejo is disappointed in all of you. Also, the best sport to play in space is blitzball. As the official Marvel scholar of the pod, that's a promise. I don't know if I'm familiar with what blitzball was, so you might have to write it again for next week and elaborate.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that either.
Yeah, I don't know.
But shout out Spy Kids. Are those the movies with the thumb people?
Yes.
That speaking of shit I used to see when I was a kid, that shit is fucking weird.
Luke is a madman. Help us, save us.
What a concept.
Yeah, you play the record backwards.
Yeah,
Luke is a madman. Help us, save us.
What a strange
Crazy
movie.
Robert Rodriguez.
If you go back and watch those movies now, they look like shit.
I'm sure,
Right?
dude.
The
saw one on
animation is
TV the
so
other day.
bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
You saw
That
one of the
and,
Spy Kids on TV?
Yeah, I don't remember where I saw it. I remember watching one.
Yeah.
That and Shark Boy and Lava Girl looks terrible. Just
Oh,
absolutely.
I could imagine.
Taylor Lautner.
absolutely garbage. Yeah, Taylor Lautner is Shark.
That is Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, bro.
Yes.
Wow,
so
I never
crazy.
realized that.
Yep.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
You know
Yeah,
who else
I
is
could-
in that
I
movie?
could see it.
George Lopez. He's the villain.
Yeah.
Is he really? I
Yeah,
haven't
his-
seen that in so long.
His
I'd have to
face
sit
is
down
on
and
like a
watch.
TV or something like that. Oh, it's so weird.
Shout out.
All right. What'd you say?
I said shout out Robert Rodriguez, an OG of the pod. Doing a lot of good work on Boba Fett.
There you go. Yeah, write into backrowbanterpod@gmail.com for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of that sort. We'd love to hear what you guys think of the podcast. So send us an email. You can also follow us on Twitter @BanterRow, on Instagram @BackRanterPod, and our YouTube. We're just Back Row Banter. Please go subscribe to us there, even if it is not your primary place of listening. We'd really appreciate it. We're trying to get to 100 subs so we can get rid of the jumble letters that comes after the YouTube.com.
So
It'll just be
close.
youtube.com/BackRowBanter. Wouldn't that be so fun and exciting?
It'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be great. So go subscribe to us there. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yo, Letterboxd. I'll be on there logging some stuff as usual, giving everything, I guess 0 or 0 to 5 stars per se. 9 days got 4.5. So yeah, I'll be on there. BlakeHolders, where you can find me logging stuff. And yeah, I don't know if I have any other thoughts on when I will have a written review again. I don't think Texas Chainsaw will break the cut, to be honest with you guys. So we'll see. Give me some time. What about I'll pass it to Nathaniel.
What up, folks? I'm Nathaniel. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd @NSGingrick. You can find me on Instagram @NathanielG92. Keep a lookout for, or I guess follow, listen, download the other podcast, Sandpiper Tapes. And yeah, that'll kick it for this week. Tyler, where are you at?
twitch.tv/El Trabajo 87, ELTRABAJO 87. Check it out. We have a lot of fun over there. And we're trying to grow because it's cool. But other than that, you can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter, all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES.
Adam,
Back to you, bud.
Are you the last one, right?
Yep.
Am I? Okay.
I believe
I
so.
didn't know if you were gonna toss it over to me or if I was just supposed to go. So I just let that kind of
Here, I'll
pregnant
toss it. I'll
pause
toss it
sit,
to you.
Okay, let's redo that.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'm done, Adam. Here you go.
All right, cool. You can find me on Twitter at Aish24, where I have been tweeting a little bit more recently, kind of tweeting out when I'm going live, all that kind of stuff. And my Wordles, I've gotten 2 twos on Wordle in the past week. Nathaniel and I in sync on Wordle recently.
It's true.
Yesterday had nearly identical Wordles. Only a few letters difference in some of the words that we guessed, but we guessed basically like the same kind of general word for 2 of them. And then like the 5th guess or 4th guess was like the exact same, and we both got on the 5th. Today we both used. Nathaniel gave me his first word. I won't even say we both use it because I'm gonna give him all the credit. He introduced it to me. Stone. Play stone for your first word. You know, you get, as Nathaniel has explained again, all his credit. RSTLNE. You got to go for those Wheel of Fortune letters, right? RSTLNE, right?
Yep. If you've ever watched Wheel of Fortune in the bonus round, they give you RSTLNE because those are the most common letters in words.
Yeah. So stone, you get 3 of those consonants. E for most vowel and another vowel with O. Good start with stone. And then we got 4. Was it 4 letters today that we got?
Yeah.
From
Yeah. Right out the gate.
Yeah. And it just right off those 4 letters, both me and Nathaniel got it. Word number 2. So, yeah, love Wordle. Not terribly upset that dude was like, "Hey,
I'm gonna get paid
off this. I'm gonna get paid." Yeah, everyone's bitching about it online. Like, what the hell? It's a big deal about that. So check out Twitter for Wordle. You can find me on Letterboxd at Aish, and Twitch, where I have been streaming decent amount more, a few times a week at least. You can find me on twitch.tv/Aish, where you can see me in glorious, silky smooth. I guess it's actually only 1080p 60. I'm not really doing 4K, but I got a cam link. My camera looks great now. My webcam was kind of broken. I don't know what really happened with it, but it wouldn't work essentially. I don't know. Who cares? Yeah, find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Aish. I'm going to end this episode because I feel like I'm just talking a lot at this point. Yeah, thank you guys for listening, especially if you've made it this far. You're my favorite kind of listener, and I really do appreciate it. Join us next week for our review of Training Day, and we'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. Please like, comment, subscribe. Do whatever you got to do to help the channel grow. We appreciate anything that you guys do for us. And overall, we just appreciate the fact that you're here. And thanks for spending some time with us. And yeah, you know what? Just don't take anything for granted. You know, life's too short, and you only got one. So, and yeah, just we'll BRB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support as always. As I always say, if you're doing one thing you love every day, that means you're living the right way. And second thought, today's the first day of Black History Month, so please support Black content creators, artists, directors, whatever it may be. Watch at least something this month. That'd be awesome, and that's very supportive. We'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
We got an intro, boys.
How do you guys feel about capybaras? Have I asked you guys that before?
Like 3 times.
Really? Bro, those things are
At least once.
I YouTubed it one time, and like now that shit is like permanently on my explore page, bro. The internet algorithm is crazy.
Cookies, man.
Absolutely insane, dude. I watched one video of a capybara interacting with a dog. Really interesting video, to be honest with you. And
Don't
you can
doubt it.
see like a capybara just looks like an oversimplified dog. Like it looks like if someone were to draw a dog by memory, but it's only seen a dog one time. It's like really weird. But now like it's on my fucking Instagram Explore page, bro, every day.